Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. We begin tonight with Congresswoman Michele Bachmann, head of the House Tea Party caucus. She's got a lot to say about the budget vote, Obama, and his health care plan. Congresswoman Bachmann, thanks for being with us. We'll start with the fact that Democrats are using the Paul Ryan budget to say that Republicans are going after seniors through Medicaid and Medicare and cutting their money and their benefits. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, remember, in the Obamacare bill, that's the government takeover of health care, it was President Obama who took $500 billion, that's $500 billion, out of Medicare to put it into Obamacare. So the president himself took a tremendous amount of health care money away from seniors in order to have his Obamacare bill. Also, the president this week in his address said he will be cutting Medicare. That is not what the Republican plan is going to do. As a matter of fact, the Ryan plan should really be called the 55 and under plan, because no one is impacted at all who's age 55 and above. It's 55 and under where we'll see the reform.
So what you're saying, Congresswoman, is that the president actually took money from the seniors himself through Medicare to fund Obamacare. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying, and now he's blaming Republicans. So the president has his facts wrong. I am very concerned that we don't cost shift the burden for health care onto the backs of senior citizens. That's why I think that whatever the federal government does, we need to focus on actually curing diseases rather than just on care, because it'd be so much better if we put our money into doctors and scientists and innovation rather than just on the care. And so I'm hoping that we'll have a good, positive agenda going forward.
Well, one of the things that the president was overheard saying in Chicago about Republicans was, you want to repeal health care, go at it. We'll have that debate. You're not going to be able to do that by nickel and diming me in the budget. Do you think we're stupid? What do you make of that comment?
You know, Judge, I heard that quote that the president made, and this shows exactly where the president is coming from. He intends to fight, but the people aren't with him. The president has the lowest approval rating of his presidency. In part, that's because, Judge, only 35% of the American people favor Obamacare. In other words, 2/3 of the American people are with the conservatives who want to defund Obamacare. This is a fight that we can win. And so I'm encouraging my Republican colleagues to make sure this is the issue that we fight on, defunding Obamacare.
Does this sound like the I'm willing to compromise with you on the budget president? Does it sound like a kumbaya to you? Or is this a full throttle, we're in campaign mode, let's get at it?
Well, it's the latter. There's no question. I think that there was a lot of agreement about what a failure the president's speech was this week. It wasn't presidential. It was a screed. It was a hateful, rhetorical screed that the president made against, in particular, Paul Ryan, who did his very best effort at putting together a serious budget, and one, by the way, that passed on Friday in the House of Representatives. Again, the president has failed to put a serious plan forward. He said he wasn't going to kick the can down the road on saving Medicare, but he did. And so now Republicans are doing everything they can to save and secure Medicare so that it doesn't go broke. But again, the Paul Ryan plan really is the 55 and under plan.
Well, it's interesting that Obama says that Paul Ryan voted for 2 unpaid wars and the Bush tax cuts, and now comes out with a budget where Obama says he basically cuts everything and that it's not on the level. What do you think of that?
Well, remember, under President Obama, he's been in office just over 2 years, but he has 3 budgets. In his 3 budgets, he's increased the deficit. That's the amount of money that we're adding to the big tab by $4 trillion. No president in American history has ever spent us in that kind of oblivion. So he has to answer for all of the spending, and of course he doesn't. This is this is a president more than any other who refuses to take responsibility for his actions, including the fact that he's just put us into a 3rd war in the Middle East in Libya. That's President Obama's war. That war isn't paid for, and he has to answer for that.
Well, evidence says that his plan to reduce the deficit is to raise taxes, and he says that they favor the rich. Is that the case?
Well, of course the president has his facts wrong again. I'm a former federal tax litigation attorney. That's all I did, Judge, was practice in the United States Federal Tax Court. And taxes are out of control. The American people have no stomach for increased taxes. Because the one thing that we know about this president, there's two things that makes him irritated, angry, and sarcastic. And it's anyone making more than $200,000 a year. And that's even if you have joint income, it's $250,000, or anybody who has a business. Well, what the president has demonstrated, Judge, is that he has no concept how you have private job creation, and so he wants to raise taxes, Judge, on the people who are going to be creating the new jobs in this economy. So the president has failed Economics 101.
But do you think that we're going to have to raise some taxes to get out of the ditch that we're in right now?
I don't. I do not think we have to. What we need to do, this is coming from a taxpayer and also a private business person. My husband and I have started our own business. What we need to do is give more money to people, real people, and also to people who are creating the jobs. We give it to them by not taking it from them. So government needs to reduce its demands, because now government is eating up almost $1 out of every $4 in the United States. I know who can spend that money much better? Your viewers. Let's let the viewers spend their own money rather than the government spending their money for them.
And, you know, it was this president who, as a senator, voted against raising the debt ceiling, and he now says, as president, he realizes that that was a mistake. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I've said that I'm going to vote no against the debt ceiling, and the reason is because we raised the debt ceiling so that the government can borrow more money. This is not a good scenario. The federal government right now borrows 41 cents of every dollar that it borrows, and if we fail to lift the debt ceiling, it isn't that the government is going to just shut down. It won't. We won't see a real difference for at least 6, if not 7 months. What it means is that we first pay our bills, including the interest that we owe, and then we prioritize our spending. Isn't that what Congress should be doing? We can't keep spending at the rate we are, so let's just prioritize.
Well, all right, Representative Bachmann, stay with us. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to ask the Congresswoman about Donald Trump.